I'm going to self-publish my book. So how do I create my book cover? Hi, I'm Beth Anne Campbell, and I share my life as an author and podcaster, bare bones blunt and no BS. One of the questions I hear quite often, especially from new authors, is how do I create my book cover? So, for the sake of this argument, we're going to be talking about people who are self-publishing. So, if you're working with a publisher, you likely have somebody who is there to design your book cover for you. And as usual, I'm not going to give you a deep dive recommendation of how to do this. I'm going to share what I do to create my covers, and if that works for you, great. Otherwise, there are many options. Some of those options include Amazon KDP has a cover creator. You can use Adobe Design. A lot of people use that. Canva, which is what I use, which is what I'm going to talk about. You can hire somebody freelance, or you go to Fiverr if you're looking for somebody maybe who's a little less experienced and maybe even cheaper. I do all of my covers myself, and I've created all of my covers in Canva. Now, just full disclosure, I do have a paid subscription to Canva, so I do get access to a lot of the media that if you have a free version, you don't. But you can still do this with a free version. One of the questions that comes up about Canva before we start is, can I use my Canva creation on my book, or for whatever other use to sell? And the answer is generally yes. Canva's set up so that what you create in Canva can be used however you want to use it, whether it's a book cover or if you create a journal or whatever and sell it on Etsy. I think there are some limited situations where if you're using one of their templates exactly, maybe that's not kosher, but if you're significantly modifying a template or you're creating your design from scratch, which is what I generally do, yeah, use it however you want it to, no problem. So, as you wrap up your writing and you start getting ready to publish, you are going to want to create or finalize your book cover. And one of the key things is knowing how big to create the full cover. So, you're going to create a design that actually encompasses your back, your front, and also the spine of your book. Now, I always use the Amazon KDP cover calculator. So let me share my screen and I'll show you exactly where to find that and how to use that to set up a template that you can use in Canva or some other application that can help you get your design the right size. So here is the Amazon KDP cover calculator. So this will create a template for you. You cannot use this until you are really at the point of being ready to publish, because you need to know your exact page number in order to make this accurate. It's a pretty simple form, as you can see in front of you. You're going to select your binding type. I've never done a hardcover, so I'm going to steer clear of that. I always have done paperback. My interior type is going to be black and white because I don't have any pictures. Again, I'm sharing what I do as a fiction and nonfiction writer. I don't write books with a lot of graphics or colorful graphics, so I'm not going to be able to help you with much with that. But if you're just writing a traditional book, for fiction, and this is what I'm going to set up here, I will always go for cream paper. If I'm doing nonfiction, I'll do white, but cream paper for fiction, and that's what I'm writing right now. So. The reading direction, generally, if you are in an English-speaking world, is left to right. And then your measurement this is going to be for your book size. So I choose inches. Now, your book size is something that you would have decided before in the formatting stage, right? So you would have had to put some thought into the size of your book. So whatever your book size is, this is where you're going to enter it. So my book size for a novel, for fiction, is generally 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. That's pretty standard. There are some variations. You'll see all different sizes. But for me, this works for my page count and my genre. And then finally, very important, what is your page count? So this is not going to be the number that you necessarily use to count pages, because usually you start that numbering in a few pages. You don't typically number your title page or your copyright page and those kinds of things. So you want to go to your document, your wherever you're working in, Word or PDF or whatever, and find out the actual full count of pages. Sometimes you'll be a little off because the calculator likes it to be I believe it's a factor of 4. But let's just try. We're going to do, my last book was, I think, 276 pages, which works out here. It may give you a message when you enter this form, and it may say, hey, you need to be divisible by 2. So it just would add another page here or there. But then you just click the calculate dimensions. So it's going to give you this sort of template. I mean, how easy is that, my friends? I mean, you have to have the book in the right state, but once you have that information, it's just plug and boom, play. So this is telling me that my full cover is 11.94 inches by 8.75 inches, right? And then it is also kind of given me a little template here with some borders and some safe areas, right? And then there's also a place at the bottom, this would be on the back cover, where a barcode typically would be inserted, for example, if you're using Amazon. Okay, so here I have my template. It's already made for me. I just have to now click the download template button, and it's going to download it for me. And then I'm going to pull this now into Canva, which is what I use to create my cover. And I'm going to show you what it looks like and how you can then finalize your cover and make it all pretty using this template. Okay, so now we've got our template, easy peasy. Okay, so now we're back here in Canva and we're going to create a new design so we can then start creating our book cover based on the template that we just created in the cover calculator. So I'm going to do a custom size design. So I'm clicking the custom button, making sure that it's in inches. And just as a reference, I did write this down, but I'm at 11.94 wide by 8.75. So that's what I'm going to enter here, 11.94 and 8.75. And I'm going to just create a new design. Okay, so now here I am in my new design. I've got my general shape, but I want to pull in the template that I created in the KDP cover calculator because it's going to show me the borders around the edges as well as the spine border. So I make sure that my graphics are not bleeding too far out where they might be cut off, right? So I'm going to just go to the place where I go and where I save my designs. In this particular one, I'm going to do a little bit of a copy of one that I did for my latest book. So I'm going to pull an open book one, and then I'm just going to upload the file that I just created. Now you'll see when you do your download of your KDP template that you're going to get a couple of files. One's going to be a PDF, one's a PNG. I don't know that it really matters. I guess I'm just going to pull open the PNG. I don't even know which one I normally use, but you can see it, it's uploading over here, and then I'm just going to pull this into my design. Now, if I have entered my correct coordinates, this should perfectly fit if I enlarge it to fit this template, which it does. This is great. So now you can see I've got this great template that shows me around the edges where I need to steer clear of for any important design. Now, your design can go off the page. It's perfectly fine. But anything like words, your title, your author name, your back matter, that should all be in the right area. I've got my little barcode area here that's going to help me steer clear of anything in that area because I do use Amazon, and Amazon does add a barcode. So you might be asking yourself, okay, so I've got this template, but how does that work, and how do I, fit my design here? So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the one that I did for my last book, which is all put together, but I'll kind of show you the elements that uses this template or a very similar template. Okay, so now what you're seeing here, this is the cover of my latest book, the back, the spine, and the front, and this consists of basically 3 elements. So the front of the book is basically a separate design that I created for the front of the book, worked on periodically as I was writing my book. Sometimes as I need to wait a few days between edits, I would work on the cover, tweak it a little bit over time. And it's a great inspiration as well. But I already had this design, so I basically downloaded it and then uploaded it back here to Canva and inserted it into a frame for the front of my book. So if you'll see, if you're familiar in Canva with frames, you know how this works. If not, again, I'm not here to teach you Canva, but frames are amazing. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to quickly delete it. So this is just a rectangular frame, and I'll show you how the template fits into this later, but in just a second. So I'm just going to undo that. And then for the rest of the book, this is just individual inserts of elements that I wanted to include. So I've got my summary, a little extension of the summary, and then I've got a little bio. Because I'm a fairly new author, I wanted to put a little short author blurb on the back with my picture. So I've got all my elements here, and then I've got my spine title and my name. So everything is looking great here, but how do I know if it's fitting into the template? So let's show you how that works. So I'm going to pull up my overall design for my book. I've got a lot of different files in here, but I have already uploaded, as you saw earlier, the template. I'm going to actually pull up, I'm actually going to go to two images and I'm going to pull up, here's the one on the top here that we just downloaded. Mine's a little bit different, so I'm just going to pull up the one that I did. You can see it's um, a little bit different. It's instead of 11.94, it's 11.938. So I'm going to put my template over the top. First, I'm going to pull it forward, bring it to the front. All right, so just so I know that everything lines up. So what I'll do now is, now I can't see my design, right? So I've got my design on there. How do I know it fits? Well, I'm going to take my little transparency tool and I'm going to fade out my template so that I can see, just make out the lines of the borders and make sure. So this is how I work my cover. So I just make sure that my spine is aligned between the two borders and that all of my words and important material is not bleeding out into this unsafe area here around the border. When I'm ready to download this and get it into Amazon or whatever format or whatever platform, I will remove this template. You could hide it as well, but I just remove it and then do the download. But right now I need to make sure that my author bio down here is not infringing upon the barcode area and my title does not go too far out into the margins where it might be now in the unsafe area. So it's pretty easy peasy. The harder part was really creating the design, but this is basically how you do it. Now, one word of caution I will tell you is you could have this looking absolutely perfect on Canva and you'll pull it into Amazon KDP and it's going to look great in your preview, and then you get your book and it's a little maybe misaligned. This has happened to me a lot. This is why it's very important to order a proof when you upload to whatever platform, whether it's Ingram Spark or Amazon. I'm trying to think if I had one here. Yeah, so when I did my early version, so this is an earlier version, and you can see my name was a little bit too close to the bottom. I didn't like the color of I have a sticky note graphic on here, and I didn't end up using B.A. Campbell. I ended up using Beth Anne Campbell. So just one of the things that you're looking for when you get your proof, and then you just tweak your design accordingly. If you find that sometimes the spine boundaries are a little off, so you just twitch it a little either way. Sometimes you are at the mercy of printing, and those things sometimes will happen, but you can tweak it a little bit when you get your proof because sometimes it's not going to be exactly perfect or exactly what you see either in your design tool or even in the preview for Amazon. So just know that. So it's not rocket science, but it does take a bit of work. I'm not going to kid you. And this is why I do this, because I am an amateur author. All right. I'm not a big name. I don't have a big publisher. I have had to do all this stuff myself. So I've struggled a bit and I don't want everybody else to have to struggle. So maybe this is one way that you out there, if you're publishing your book, maybe you could use this method to create your cover as well. So I hope this helps. Please let me know how your cover comes out in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Of course, please like and subscribe. I really do appreciate you. And happy cover design. And congratulations on finishing your book. If you're ready to create a cover, you've written a book. Awesome.